Good morning, everybody. I see a few folks starting to tune in. Welcome to today's snack chat. We'll get started here in just a couple minutes. We'll give folks a couple minutes to tune in and get settled in. Good morning, Gray. Good morning, Mom. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Gray, they are getting really big. Gray was one of our interns here last year. And he probably saw these guys when they were just hatching, and they're not quite adults yet, but they're getting close. They're getting pretty big. Good morning, Shannon and Anna, Paul. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll get started here in just one more minute. Thank you for the kind words, Sally. I love seeing you tune in as well. We miss having you volunteer here at the Butterfly House. Hi, Patty. Hi, Paula. Good morning. Hey, good morning, everybody out there in Facebook land. My name is Yankoski. I'm coming to you live from our insect containment lab here at the Sophia M. Sachs Butterfly House. I am the senior entomologist here. That's just a fancy way of saying I get paid to play with bugs. And today I thought I would share with you some of my favorite animals that we have here and that you can find around the world. One of the main questions our guests ask me is, what's your favorite bug? What's your favorite butterfly? And I don't always get to share that with people in such an intimate way as we're going to do here today. So I thought I'd bring some of my favorite bugs to you. We're going to start with these guys right here. These are my favorite butterflies. Does anybody know what they are? Anybody want to take any guesses? The few times we get these, and my favorite ones are the blue ones, but they're a close relative of those green ones you see. When we get these, a lot of people think they're actually a blue morpho, but they're not. In fact, they're not even that closely related to the blue morphos, even though they're blue just like they are. What you see here, these blue ones, are the Ulysses swallowtail. They are a swallowtail butterfly, and you can see the tails that they have there. That's how they get the name swallowtail. These are from Australia, and we don't get them very often at all. I've been doing this for about 12 years, working as an entomologist at a butterfly house, and I've only ever seen these a few times. So it's always really exciting and really special when we get them. They're blue colored, just like the blue morpho is created through structural effects, not through pigments. They reflect blue light. Their actual color is more of an orangish color is what they're pigmented, but their scales, those tiny little specialized hairs on their wings, only reflect blue light like a prism. Kind of how a prism can take regular light and turn it into a rainbow. Well, this just reflects the blue light back. We get these guys much more commonly, though. This is the emerald swallowtail or the banded peacock. And just like their blue cousins, the Ulysses, these swallowtails here also create that green color through structural effects, not through pigment. If you were to put something like a drop of rubbing alcohol on this wing, it would soak into those scales and it wouldn't let the light reflect through the prism effect. And almost instantly, what you see as green would turn orange, kind of like the color of a pumpkin. But as soon as that alcohol or whatever chemical evaporates, it goes back to its current color that you see here. Now, these are preserved specimens, so I won't be putting the alcohol on them, but sometimes we do that demonstration with blue morphos because the blue morpho wings make their color the exact same way. And you can turn a blue morpho's wing sort of a brick red by putting a drop of rubbing alcohol on it. And as soon as it evaporates, it turns back to blue. So these are my favorite butterflies that we get here, especially these guys, the Ulysses swallowtail. There's only one supplier in the entire world right now that breeds these, and she's from Australia. And it's kind of hard to get the butterflies from Australia, so we only get them for special occasions, but they are my favorite. All right. Our next animal I'm going to show you is our Great Plains tiger beetle. And he really likes to hide. I gave him a little bit of grass here so he feels kind of comfortable, but I'm going to pull him out here and you can see him. You going to hide in the grass? There you go. I may have to pick him up and get him to hold still. There he comes. So this is a Great Plains tiger beetle. This is possibly, depending on who you ask, native to Missouri. These have a very wide range where you can find them in the wild, but they're very difficult to find. I'm going to follow him around a little bit here up close. We'll see if we can see him. It's a very large tiger beetle. This is the largest species of tiger beetle you can find in North America. Tiger beetles are predators. They are a type of ground beetle. When I was in college, these were their own family, all by themselves. And then some taxonomists came along and said, no, we're going to move them back in with the ground beetles. So this is a type of ground beetle. Let's see if we can get him to focus. He's kind of holding still. I'm going to pick him up. He has very ferocious jaws. See those big jaws? Now, he doesn't bite me. I've held him a lot. I've caught these guys in the wild. I've never been bit. But if you were a cricket or a small insect, this was not somebody you would want to meet maybe in a dark alley. And these guys are ferocious predators. They'll chase down and eat almost anything they can catch. But right now, he really just wants me to leave him alone. It's a closely guarded secret where you can find these in the wild. Because even though they're found probably in, well, it's hard to say how many states, but maybe as many as 10 different states across the Midwest and the Great Plains, they're very, very geographically isolated, meaning you have to go to very tiny places and kind of get lucky to find them in their natural habitat. I can tell you that this guy came from Colorado, but I can't tell you from where in Colorado. One of our projects here at the Butterfly House is we have been doing some research on how to breed these in captivity because they are so uncommonly found in the wild. We want to try to breed them. And we've made some recent progress, but we've yet to get any babies from them. But we hope in the next year or two that we can start breeding these here at the Butterfly House. I met one gentleman who raised a very closely related species, and we hope to do the same thing. Now, I will be going through all of the comments and questions and answering any questions at the end. I know Chris is probably answering questions in real time. But if you guys want to talk about your favorite insects, I'd love to hear what your favorites are too. Because I always think it's fun to see what some people think are their favorites. And I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good one too. I hadn't thought about that one. There's another tiger beetle you can find here in Missouri that's out right now that's really, really pretty. It happens to be featured in the Missouri Department of Conservation Explorer magazine, which this current issue is all about. That's right, Meet the Beetles. And it's an awesome, awesome job they did of highlighting a lot of really cool beetles. And this one right here that they talk about is the six-spotted tiger beetle, and that's another one of my favorites. And I had hoped to go out and catch some for you, because you can find them right here in Faust Park where the butterfly house is, but it's been so cloudy and rainy that they're all hiding. I went up the last couple of days trying to catch some, and I wasn't able to. But you've probably seen these if you go for hikes or you go walking in the woods, especially in May and June. These guys can be very, very common. And just like their larger cousin here, they are a tiger beetle. They are ferocious predators, and they have very good eyesight. They will fly away from you as you walk towards them on a path, and they will land maybe 6 or 10 feet down the path and turn and watch you. And they're actually seeing what you're doing, and if you keep walking at them, well, they'll fly away again, and they'll often repeat that as they'll sort of hop down the path in front of you. It's kind of cool. Some people confuse these guys for green emerald wasps because of the way they fly. But once they land, you see there are these metallic green beetles with 6 spots on their wings. One of my favorites as well. All right, Bob the Great Plains tiger beetle's hiding down there in the corner. He really just wants to go back. These are nocturnal animals. You usually only see them outside after dark. They like to hide in burrows and underground during the day, so he's not real happy to be out where this bright light is shining on him. So I'm going to give him his grass so he can hide and feel more comfortable and feel more secure. And he's already stopped moving, but makes him really hard to see. So Bob, there is a Great Plains tiger beetle, and we have lots of different kinds of beetles here, and I really like beetles in general. And 3 of the 5 things we're going to talk about today are types of beetles, which makes sense because there's lots and lots of beetles in the world. But since this is a behind the scenes special here, I thought I'd bring you something that you can rarely see if you visit us and see our animals on display. So this looks like a bunch of dirt, and that's pretty much accurate. But what's hiding inside the dirt is pretty special here. Inside here are the babies, are the grub stage or larval stage of one of my favorite types of beetle in the entire world. These are Derbiana beetles or Derby's flower beetles. And they are from tropical Africa. And as their grub stage, immature stage, they live in soil. And they really like to eat decomposing trees. They like things like sawdust mixed in with their soil. So I don't have any adults to show you. Right now we only have grubs. I do have one preserved beetle. So this is what they look like as an adult. Very beautiful metallic green with white stripes. Pretty big chunky beetle. This is a female that was a little bit smaller than some. The males can be maybe another ½ inch bigger than this one. So this beetle will turn into, or this grub will turn into this beetle. And believe it or not, this grub that looks pretty big, it's still got a lot of growing to do. Because I bet if we hunt around a little bit more, we'll find some of their bigger siblings. Now it does live in dirt, so he's a little dusty and dirty, but I have some water here. I'm going to mist him. This doesn't hurt him or anything. It'll make him a little dirty at first. And we'll rinse off that mud, and now you get to see a clean, shiny beetle grub. Let's see what they look like. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit on their head here. Now they do live underground and they eat wood, so they have fairly powerful jaws to get in there and nosh up and chew on all that wood. If you were eating, there you go, you can see him moving his mandibles there. If you lived underground and had to chew up wood, you'd need pretty strong teeth too. Now he does want to be let go. He's kind of moving around, struggling. This species doesn't bite. There are some beetle larvae, big ones like the Atlas beetle, you may have heard of that. Their larvae will bite. But this guy is very friendly. He doesn't hurt or anything. He just really just wants me to put him down, and I'll put him down soon. But I'm not hurting him, and he's not hurting me. You can see his legs there. Like all insects, he has 6 legs. But these guys, they don't use their legs to move very much. They wiggle, oftentimes on their back. Let's see if I put him down here. Let's see if he moves around. Are you going to move? Well, see, he's going to make a liar out of me. There he goes. He's starting to wiggle. See, he flips over on his back. He's not using his legs at all. And he's going to try to burrow into the soil and substrate there on his own. If anybody's ever seen the movie Tremors, this is what it reminds me of, seeing him move around underground. These guys start very, very tiny when they hatch from an egg, maybe 1/4 of an inch long, and these are fairly fast growing. They'll take maybe, those big ones I showed you are probably about 6 months old at this point. And he probably has another couple weeks before he'll pupate. He forms what looks sort of like an egg underground. It's made of soil, and it's called a pupation chamber, or a puparium. And he'll form that underground, and inside he will pupate, just like a caterpillar turns into a chrysalis before it turns into a butterfly. These guys will form that chamber, kind of like a cocoon, and inside of it they will form their pupa, and over the course of a few weeks to a month or two, depending, will turn into an adult beetle. Some of these scarab beetles, which is what this is a member of the scarab family, once they form into an adult, will still wait underground for maybe a month or two before they decide it's ready to come up to the surface and start looking for food and then for a mate. Look at that. Who's a good boy? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Okay. You see, let's see, these little things here that look kind of like chocolate sprinkles. Well, you wouldn't want those on your ice cream. That is what baby beetle poo looks like. That's beetle poo, which is kind of gross, but that's really, really good fertilizer. What they're doing is recycling nutrients back into the ecosystem. So this would be amazing fertilizer to plant seeds or young plants in. Sometimes when we have adults, we put fruit in there that has seeds. The fruit seeds will sprout very, very quickly because this is so nutrient rich. So in the wild, these animals are very important decomposers. All right. So the next animal is something that those that have been tuned in from the very beginning have already met. They are our jungle nymph walking sticks. These guys are very, very good at camouflage, at blending in, at hiding in plain sight. These are males here, the ones with the stripes. And the males, as they get older especially, get darker and darker. And they don't blend in quite as well against the green plants. But the females, which is this one right here, start off kind of creamy color. They'll stay kind of gray at first, and then all at once they start turning green, and they blend in very, very well. See another one right down there. The females blend in so well that I just had to do a double take because I knew I put one on here. I couldn't find her. And there she is. So I'm going to move over here, set the camera up. I'm going to bring this female out and show you. Hello, gorgeous. How are you today? So this is a female jungle nymph walking stick. She is still an immature. She still has a lot of growing to do. But she's starting to get her adult coloration, which is this beautiful green color. When full grown, this species is one of the heaviest insects in the entire world. They can weigh over 1/3 of a pound, which is pretty crazy. And she is moving. Let's see if we can show her face, because I think their face looks really cool. All right, I'm gonna grab you, I'm gonna hold you. There you go. Now, I'm gonna move her over here against the background where I can see a little bit better. See if we can zoom in on her face. Look at that. She's not real happy with me because I've got a hold of her, but I'm not hurting her. I would not be able to do this with an adult jungle nymph because if you see on the inside of their legs, all those spines, and those spines get bigger the older they get. And they will actually use them as self-defense where they will pinch. They'll wrap their legs around like my finger, or if it was the leg of an attacking lizard or something like that, and then they will squeeze, and they can pinch you with those pretty good as an adult. So you learn pretty quickly not to do what I'm doing if they're any bigger than this. But she can't hurt me, and she's not trying. You can see on her back here, as I zoom back out, these right here, oh, she's a mover. Here you go, baby. All right, these right here are her wing buds. She doesn't have fully developed wings yet because she's not an adult insect. Adult insects get wings. If an insect has wings, that means in its adult stage. No other stage of an insect will have functional wings. Now, even though she gets wings once she's an adult, she is incapable of flying. She is so heavy that she is restricted to the plants that she lives on. The males are much smaller and much lighter as adults, and they will fly and find her and come to her to mate so they can lay eggs. Now, we only have immatures right now. We have a few dozen of these. This is the biggest female we have. I'm going to put her back on the plant real quick. But I do have these guys. These are what they look like when they're full grown. This one of these was probably that one's mother. Put that down into the light. Zoom in. You can see those spines I was talking about. These guys are very well armored. Their first defense is to blend in. If you look at their wings, these are their wings here. And they even have such good camouflage that it looks like they've got like veins of a leaf on there. And their wings look very much like leaves. But their underwings, which is a little tough to see, but are bright pink. And if you do disturb them, they will flash those underwings at you as a warning to say, hey, I do have some ways of protecting myself. And usually they'll then resort to those spines. Pretty neat animals. A lot of times people will ask, why do we have all of these animals here in the lab and not on display? And it's for situations like this. Right now we only have a few of these jungle nymphs that would be big enough to go on display. A lot of them are still way too small. And so we keep them here in the lab and we hatch them from their eggs and we raise them until they're big enough, and then we can rotate them out. And eventually these guys will be out on display for people to see. But in the meantime, we have other walking sticks out there for people to see. And as you can see, she's swaying. That's another defense mechanism they have, because in the wild, especially if you're up in a tree, well, things are gently moving. And if you're not moving, you could almost stand out for that reason. And so a lot of these guys will have very normal, gentle swaying motions that they do that really help them with their camouflage blend into their surroundings. I also think that they do what I call walking stick yoga, where they stick their arms out. And I always think that's kind of funny. All right. So the final animal I'm going to talk about right now is my very #1 favorite insect. And it's going to start with a story.